Well, what's going on, everybody? Pastor Greg here, and I am with my co-host on the Thrive City podcast.
Woo woo!
You know,
Thrive City.
You looking good in that jersey.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ooh,
she bought me.
yourself.
She bought me this jersey, I think, for my birthday, and then she bought herself one.
Of course.
Because she was like, "We got to go to church with the jerseys on together."
Yeah, we're one.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine.
Guys.
That makes us one.
Yeah, that is not good marriage advice. Just FYI, she's kidding, guys.
True. I am
She's
totally
kidding.
Totally kidding.
But you do look. You look good in. I always think you look good in orange.
Thank you.
You know, part of the reason why I made sure that the color of the church was orange and cream is because I like you in it.
Yeah.
See, y'all
really?
thought I prayed about it and pulled it down from heaven. No, wasn't no pulling it down from heaven. I said, what does she look good in? That's going to be the church colors.
I cannot. Now, you need to tell the truth and shame the devil, because you know the truth was the colors were not going to be orange. They were going to be a green.
It was.
It was.
I really wanted it to be
did.
green.
You did. You even have said that maybe in like 5 or 10 years.
Nah, the orange is on me now. It's
changing the church colors.
Nah, it's what it is now. But I really did want it to be green.
Okay.
Like I took pictures and everything, guys.
Yeah.
And the team just didn't care. They said, we're not doing lime green.
Yeah, I remember the theater that we went to that time for the it was like a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
And the theater is like decked out with like green
I was
decor,
like,
and you were taking pictures.
Guys, this is the vision. And y'all were like, the vision sucks.
Nope, not green.
I said, wow. You know, no shade to anybody whose church colors are green.
Yeah, none at all. None at all.
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast, man. We're always glad to come on and to share with you guys. We usually do 2 different podcasts, and the first one that we do is we'll do an update on where we are in this church planting journey.
Whew, it's been a journey.
And guys, we got it for you today because at this time of the recording, we are about a month from we launched last month. So we're like a month and 2 days old.
Woo!
Guys,
exciting.
It happened.
Man, totally happened.
It happened.
It was
And
great.
you know what's interesting is that a lot of people are like, be careful when you give a date because you may have to change the date.
That's true.
Well, actually, our date was the same from the beginning, and we launched on that day.
Yeah, God was faithful.
Yeah.
He's been faithful. The
Absolutely.
whole way, the whole journey. He's been so faithful.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have launched. So we usually do an update on how the launch is going. Now it's how's the plant going.
Right.
Or we'll do what's called a vibe and a value. Don't let that word scare you. Vibe just simply means the way that you feel when you come into a place. And so today we actually are going to give you a update episode on what happened launch day, what's been going down in the month of September. We're like right now we're in October, the beginning of October at the time of the recording. So we want to give you like what happened the first month of launch and everything. First 30 days. Wow. But before we do that, we always want to start with something a little special. The question of the pod. And this can sometimes get a little interesting, guys, because I've been asked questions that I don't even think you guys as viewers wanted to know.
Of course they did.
No,
you
no
should
one.
Just stop saying that.
Okay.
They enjoy my questions. They love them.
They do love your questions.
There are people out in the world that are like me that ask interesting questions.
Yeah.
You've always said, too, good leaders, great leaders ask
Great questions.
Yeah, they do.
How you going to use my own stuff against me on the pod? This is crazy, guys. But anyway, so my question for you today, we don't give each other a heads up on what the questions are going to be. And so my question for you today is, what's something that you wanted to try for a long time, but you haven't?
Something I wanted to try, like a food or just anything I want to try?
Anything anything that comes to your beautiful, wonderful mind.
Hot air balloon. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I see them over by our house. They have, I guess maybe they do them monthly or something like that. I'm not sure. And I see them go up in the air. I would say that it probably has been a thing since we've moved here, because I can't remember anywhere else we've lived where we saw hot air balloons.
It's true.
But we see them here often.
All the time.
And that would probably be something that I would want to try. Now, I know that's not anything
I don't know
would ever do.
It's crazy that this question is going to turn on me because, guys, here's the thing. About 4 years ago?
Yes.
So I've never had an issue with heights.
Yeah.
Like, could go high and makes no difference to me. But something happened about 3-4 years ago.
We were in San
where
Diego.
we were in Vegas.
No, it was San Diego. We were at the Hard Rock Hotel
That's
in
where
San
we were?
Diego. Yep.
Okay.
And we had that really high
So this was real
room
impactful for you because you remember it.
And the balcony, and we walked out on
And
the
I
balcony.
walked out. I said, "Ooh, wait, something wrong, something wrong." And I literally could not go up to the balcony, the bars on the balcony, because it was like I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I said, "What has happened to me in my older age? I can't deal with heights no more."
Yeah, things change.
Then you know what happened? We went on a virtual reality thing.
Oh, I remember that.
And guys, it was like, I don't know why I pressed the button, because it was like, do you want to go the course of fire or air? And I picked air. And guys, I know there's a floor, but they had you walking on these little things that was like narrow. And I literally felt anxious.
Yeah.
And I said, this is a problem. So I'm going to be fasting and praying that I don't have issues on heights anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to do that because
Yeah.
I want to go on a hot air balloon, right?
Yeah, but I'm not going to figure that out in a hot air balloon.
Okay, well, we'll have to figure out some other way for
A
you
different
to
way.
figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hot air balloon, I actually did not think that was going to be your answer.
No, what'd you think I was gonna
not
say?
even close to it. I didn't know, but I did not think it was going to be hot air balloon.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to do. I mean, even thinking about it a little bit myself, I can feel a little anxiety in there because it's like, you're really high in the sky in a basket in a balloon.
Because I'm just going to be in the fetal position in the bottom of the basket.
Not a fetal position.
Just like, hey, tell me when it's over.
Well, Jeremiah said he would do it. So that's our second oldest. He said he would do it. He would go with me. He's actually trying to talk about going skydiving too. So, I mean,
But
he's
here's
definitely adventurous.
But you know what the thing is? I'm okay with planes.
Okay.
I can look outside of a plane.
You can.
And I have no issues whatsoever. I think it's when I'm outside.
Yeah. When it's nothing like you're enclosed in something
Yes.
like an airplane or something.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
okay.
It's like I need a covering. Come on, that'll preach.
Uh-uh.
Come on. Sometimes you need a covering.
I can't.
All right. So moving on. Like we said, we are a month into our church plant. We have had 4 Sundays since launch day. And it's been great.
It has.
It's been absolutely amazing. So I got some questions that I kind of just want us to talk about on, because we don't talk just about the good stuff. We talk about the challenges. We want to make sure that there's a sober perspective.
Right.
If
Absolutely.
anybody's coming after us and like, hey, I just want to know about what this church plant journey is, we want to give you a real perspective on what it's like. So my first question to you is this.
Okay.
What were you most surprised about on launch day?
On launch day, what was I most surprised
What were you
about?
most surprised about?
Gosh, there were so many great things that happened.
There were.
Would it be odd to say that I wasn't surprised about anything?
No, it just makes for a terrible question that I just asked you.
Well, what I mean is, I think I had taken the time to really infuse my faith into what I was hoping would happen that day. And so I had all these hopes, hoping, a certain amount of people would show up and it would look a certain way and all of those things. And I would say, if anything I was surprised about, keep with that context, is that with the budget that we were working with, how well everything turned out, how it all looked, the things we were able to have like aesthetically, and what we were able to do like for the kids. And we had like the buttons that had our logo on it, the kids' logo on it, had the chips and what was it? The fruit snacks for the kids that had the logo and stuff like that. I wish we had an example of it to show everybody.
That would have been good.
That would have been good. Shout out to Rochelle Davis. She
Come
did
on.
an amazing
And Curtis.
job. And Curtis, he did the buttons.
Yeah.
Just man, that was so cool. So if anything I was surprised about was we were having some challenges when it came to finances to be able to create the experience we really wanted to create.
Right.
And I think we just kind of had to take a moment and sober ourselves in regards to that and create the best experience we could with what we had. And in essence, that's what excellence is.
Yes.
It's that extraordinary stewardship of what God has placed in our hands.
That's good.
And so we were literally living out one of our vibes and values.
Yeah.
We're living out excellence is our choice. And so we chose with what we had to
Yeah.
be as excellent as we possibly could be. So that was, I would say that was surprising. But outside of that, the people that showed up, how the service went, everything like that, it wasn't surprising. I knew God was going to show up, and I knew God was going to fill the gaps with his grace, as he always does.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's really good. I would say for me, I think I was surprised by how many people showed up.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, my safe number for God was like, Lord, it would be so great if it was in your will to have 250 people there. But we ended up having just shy of 400. And I was like, when I looked out, it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, look at God. Because we had talked about like budget wise and things we wanted to do, and we're like, man, I wish we could do like a mailer, and it was like a mailer was like 18 grand, and I was like, so I guess we gonna be putting these flyers on cars ourselves.
Right.
And so, just with what we wanted to do, I was like, okay, I should sober my perspective. But God did exceeding and abundant above all that I could ask or think or dream or imagine.
Yeah.
And so that probably was my only surprise of the day, was just how many people walked through the doors that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my surprise.
Yeah. That's a great surprise.
Yeah.
That's a great surprise.
All right. So your mom was here.
Yes,
she came
was.
into town.
Hi, Mom, if you're watching.
Cynthia, my mother-in-love. She's an awesome person.
I love my mom.
Great person.
She is.
She makes being a son-in-law so easy. She loves me too. She brought me these
Oh gosh.
every
you
time
yourself?
I am.
Ooh,
Every time
you gonna tell on
I'm
yourself.
tell on myself.
Come on.
Every time she comes and visits, she brings what are they called?
They're the Svengards. I don't know if they're called the Horns of Plenty. I think.
Horns of Plenty.
Yeah, Horns of Plenty.
That's it right there. And it's like these cinnamon roll like thingies. You can't get them in Arizona
At all.
She
They're
brings
nowhere.
them every time she comes. And this time, guys, she brought 6 packs with her. And I am ashamed.
Now you have to explain though. They're not just like 6 like little packages, one each. It was 6 packs, and they have 6 or 8 in the packs.
I can neither deny or confirm how many are in the pack. But guys, I am ashamed and proud to say at the same time
Not.
that I probably ate 80% of them by the time she left.
That's a shame.
She was here for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, y'all. 2. Count them. 1, 2.
I sat at the table with like 4 of them with a cup of orange juice.
Cup of orange juice. Now that is the weirdest thing
It
ever.
is the weirdest thing, but it just
I don't
fits.
understand how you do that.
It fits. It just is right.
With a ton of ice in the
With
orange
a ton
juice.
of ice in the orange juice. It's like milk and honey of the promised land. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, your mom was here.
She was here.
And how was it for you to have your mom be here on a day like that? And maybe what was her experience?
It was really great to have her here. I felt like it was, and she may not even feel this way, but I felt like it was like a redeeming moment. And what I mean by that is she was also like with us and kind of, came to visit when we originally started way back and when we were in California and we had planted the first time we had a church. And she was there then. And I mean, she thought the world of it then. She was like, you guys are great, championing us to do it then. But this time she got to see, I really felt like it was a moment to be redeemed. So she got to see just all the different things we did. I had been talking to her through the journey and just sharing with her the different challenges and the things we overcame and stuff like that. And I remember talking to her and she was saying that, she said, looking at what you guys have done, you would not know that this was a church plant that you guys had just started. She was like, just the level of excellence and the level of organization and just the level of intentionality and the eye that you guys have and just your team camaraderie and unity and all of that. She was just really blown away by that. And it was funny, like just having her be on campus for the launch. She was going around, taking pictures of different things because she's a part of her own church, actually my church that I grew up in, we're in Fresno. And so she was taking pictures of different things and she was like, I'm taking some of this stuff back to our church. Yeah. And so it's like maybe sometimes we can minimize that because it's our parents, it's somebody that's close to us, but that was impact. Just what we did, and that has been our prayer. We're reaching people, and she's gonna take that back. They talk about the whole 6 degrees of separation. She's gonna take that back to her church and say, hey, these are some ideas that I saw when I was, at my kids' church plant. And so she was just really blown away. And it was just really good as a, and I'm going to say it this way, as a kid, you know, as my mom's daughter, to be able to fulfill purpose and have her see that. And just be a part of it. She just championed us. She was so proud of us.
She was.
We made sure we got pictures with her and everything like that to be able to remember that day. Remember she was there. So it meant a lot to me to have her there and to see how proud she was of us.
Yeah, it was definitely amazing to have her in the building, to see her there. She was there for 2 Sundays, so she got to see launch, and then the next Sunday. She texted me the other day.
Did she?
And from one of the posts that we had on the message about it's you. It's talking about Joshua when nobody else is coming, like it's you. And she just texts, it's you. It's you.
Oh, that's great.
And so it's just being able to live out what God put in our hearts, and to not just it be an experience for us, but really it's legacy as well.
It is.
Your mom getting to see it. And then also, like, our boys are extremely involved when it comes to Thrive City Church. So they rotate praise and worship because the 3 younger sing. And so they rotate each week, and then they're in kids serving, and they love it in kids as well. What is it like to have family in ministry? Because, you know, I mean, let's be honest. You be having some PKs sometimes.
You too.
I used to be one. So listen, this is not judgment. I'm a PK, and I know. I was always in church. Always loved God. But really to see what God is doing through our boys is we have 4 boys, guys.
You say boys.
4.
They're young men.
Men. Sorry, men. My Cash App is because these groceries. Jesus. He shall supply every one of our needs.
Amen.
And second stomachs. Because Elijah has to have a second stomach.
Has to.
He has a second
stomach.
He
That's
does.
great.
Yeah. But what is it like for you as a mom, as, you know,
Okay, I don't know how deep you want me to go into this because, one, I am definitely grateful for the young men that we have. You know, I tell people all the time, I take no credit at all for who they are becoming, you know, as they grow, and I give God all the glory, all the credit. You know, I had to be a willing vessel to be able to parent them and steward them as my kids, but man, I'm so proud of them. They do such a great job at life, like just life. But in regards to being a part of the ministry and just their heart to serve, it's there. It's not something we've had to like twist their arm to do or force them, or like, you know, we run into some parents who will like punish their kids. Like if you don't do this, that, or the other when it comes to church or serve or show up, they get in trouble for it. That's not at all the dynamic. We have had conversations with them, and this is their desire. You know, their desire is to please God with being the hands and feet of Jesus to people. And so it's such a beautiful thing. I love seeing their passion, especially during praise and worship. You know, seeing our youngest is, I think, the biggest thing, seeing him on stage. And, you know, some years ago, he struggled with a stomach issue, and it created a lot of anxiety for him, and he didn't want to get up there and sing anymore. Right. So to see this now, to see God, you know, the healing that has happened through him and for him, and to see his passion and just his vibrancy and his excitement about being up there to sing and worship God. And it's not a show. You know, it is literally the passion of his heart to give God worship. So as a mom, you know, I'm in the crowd like, this is just great. This is amazing. Yeah, not that time. I didn't cry then. Okay. But I don't know if you're going to get into our baptism Sunday and whatnot. But
I wasn't.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. You know, the boys they have their own personal relationship with God. That's something we can say about them without a shadow of doubt. We see it. We see them walk with God. We see them pray and seek God for wisdom, for insight, for help living their daily lives. So them making the decision to get baptized, they've already made their faith public, but this was something that kind of put the icing on the cake, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah, I was asking God, I was like, Lord, I feel like a bad parent.
I did at first.
I did
too.
When they were like, so they've all been christened or baby dedicated, however you want to put that theologically. But when we were having baptism and they were like, we want to get baptized, I was like, dang, they haven't been baptized. And at first, the feeling was like, geez, we're terrible. But then when I got into prayer, I felt like the Lord told me that this was his gift to us.
What an awesome gift that
we
was.
got to baptize our kids at the church that we got to plant.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, okay, that settles it then. So
I would say
there was a lot of air, dust in the air when I was praying, and it just
was it?
Yeah, little.
There was no dust in the air, y'all. I cried.
Oh, she
cried like a baby.
Cried.
I mean, and I
at the
told
baptism.
them. I warned everybody. I said, so I want you guys to have a box of tissue ready.
Yeah.
Because I'm totally going to cry.
And you did.
I did.
You did, and I loved every moment of it.
And you know, it was so wrong of you to have me be the one on the mic, you know, kind of walking everybody through the process of getting baptized, and I couldn't keep it together when they got up there. And
you the pastor.
Fair. And, you know, I felt like it was a beautiful moment.
It was.
But then all the pictures got me with the crying, ugly face.
Y'all,
like, I'm like, what is this?
I don't know what's going on with our photography team, but they catch her crying all the time.
All the time. Totally a crier.
Or she has this face when she's really in worship. They always catch her there too.
All the time.
I didn't pay them to do it. Just FYI.
Sure?
It's not me.
I don't know. You sure you're not telling on yourself right now? I don't know.
But it's been good. So my aunt was there.
Yeah.
And the story about my aunt was when we moved to Arizona. Long story, would take too long, but it was a miracle us getting here. God made one of those like waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper type. You know, when you sing that song, you start thinking. That's my think, right? But my aunt ended up being the person that when we were coming here, we didn't have a place to stay. We drove by faith to where God told us to go. And then on the way, my dad says, hey, you know, your aunt lives there. And I said, I didn't know she lived here. And so she said we could stay with her as long as we needed to until we got a place and got everything squared away. And so my aunt is a instrumental part of the story that brought us here. And I look at just her obedience to allow us to stay. There's credit at Thrive City for her because we don't know. She was used by God to help us in our when we first got here over 11 years ago. Yeah. And so it was special. She didn't tell me she was coming. It was special to have her in the house because she got to see something that she was a part of.
Yeah. So beautiful.
So that was amazing. Then my cousins were there, and it was
really great.
It was a lot.
Having family in ministry, you know, be there to, even if it's just to support, to be, you know, in the congregation and just a face that you can look at and say like, hey, you know, you were a part of this. Like even having our oldest, you know, serve and be on the team. And, you know, when he can show up, even though he has to typically work on Sundays, when he will take the time off, like unpaid even, to come and be a part of certain Sundays and stuff like that. And he's done that since the launch. And, you know, it's a blessing to be able to say that this is the type of legacy that we're leaving for them, and that they get to take these stories and these experiences and they get to share it with their families eventually and with those that they're in friend circles with and everything like that. Like Elijah had shared with us, he's part of a program called Senior to Senior. And he was at one of the, I don't know if they're like an outreach kind of thing that he does. And he was talking to one of the gentlemen that was there, one of the senior citizens that were there. And he was like, hey, you look really familiar. He was like, I know you from somewhere. And he was like, yeah. He's like, well, my parents, you know, they planted a church, you know, they launched a church. He was like, oh yeah, that's where it is. That's
the Thrive City.
The Thrive City Church. The Thrive City Church.
We always get the.
Yeah, we do. That Thrive City Church.
That Thrive City Church.
But that was even cool too, you know, that not only he's in an outreach program that has nothing to do with the church. Right. So that shows that that's his heart, you know, to be a part of, be in the community and reach out, but to have someone be able to acknowledge that they knew him. And it wasn't like, you know, a shameful moment. It was a moment where he's helping senior citizens and connecting with them and, you know, making them feel seen and accepted and loved. And then he's recognized, you know, to be a part of what we're doing. So that's just pretty cool. Like,
it is.
I love it. I love it. It's really great.
So 4 Sundays in, I'm gonna throw some numbers out there.
Okay.
And the reason I throw numbers out is like, it's not to floss, flex, whatever it may be. It's really about what God is doing, because every number is a name. Every name has a story. And so that's important to us. And there's a whole book of the Bible called Numbers, just for anyone who has some reservation about that. So in the month of September, we saw an average of 176 people that were coming each week.
So awesome.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And you might be like, you had almost 400 for launch. well, anyone in the church planning industry, I say industry now, I feel like it is industry.
It totally is.
Yeah. They would tell you that you usually come down to about 50% of where you launch, because you have people who are there to support. You have people who are coming to just check it out to see if they like it. So then that number actually is pretty accurate to where we're supposed to be at this point. So that was a blessing. But here's the number for me. 79 people made a decision for Christ.
So awesome.
In the month of September.
That is so awesome. That's why we do it.
That's why we do
what we do. No other reason.
Yeah.
No other reason.
And then this past Sunday, so this is not in the numbers of September, but we had another 14 people make decisions this past week. So man, I'm looking at that, and every single time we get to invitation and hands go up, it's just like, it's a reminder of it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, totally. all the challenges, all the difficulties, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Because people's lives are being changed from darkness to light. People's lives are being impacted for generations. You know, we never know who that individual is that gets saved, and now their whole family gets saved, and now their kids' they grow up in church, and that's first generation in church. And so it's that's been amazing.
It has. It really has. Just seeing that and hearing about it. I love that that's something that we go over in our leadership meeting, and we share those numbers with our team, and we talk about it in our Sunday morning huddles, and just the celebration surrounding that. You know, if we join in with heaven to celebrate the lives that are now being changed because they've decided to live their life for Christ.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh no.
I believe that when intimacy between the church and God stops, you stop seeing reproduction. Reproduction is a result of intimacy between God and the church. And so I know some churches' philosophies can be us four and no more. And it's like just discipleship. Like, they're trying to make sure that people are living holy, living righteous, and things of that nature. But if we're not reaching more people, I think we have forgotten the essence of what Jesus said the mission was. I always say any biblical church has the same mission. We don't get to make the mission up.
Right.
Like he said, go into all the earth, baptize, teach. That's what he tells us to do. That's the commission that we've been given. And so I think we can, when we say we're okay with our church not growing, what we're unintentionally saying is that we're okay with people going to hell.
That's heavy.
And I think it would be immorally inconsiderate and egregious for us to have the cure to AIDS, the cure to cancer, and not share it with anyone else. And we will look at it like, how dare you not share that?
Absolutely.
But we have something that's better than the cure to cancer or AIDS or any other ailment. We have the cure to life, to darkness. And when we don't share that, and when people aren't coming to Christ, man, we're doing people a disservice, because we have settled into something and we're just okay with the people that we have. I'll never be okay with that.
Yeah, me either.
Never be okay with that. When people stop getting saved, there's some stuff that needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's an overhaul that needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had to cap out our new members class.
We did.
We call it Destination Thrive. We just say new members because that's what people are familiar with. But it's called Destination Thrive for us. And we had to cap it.
We did. We call our members citizens, Thrive City, so citizens, which is creative spin. You know, God never said how we had to do it, just said to do it, that we are supposed to be, reaching those that are lost and far from God, and teaching them to be disciples. So Destination Thrive is a way that they get to do that, a way for them to grow their faith, a way for them to know God, a way for them to make a difference. And so we had to cap our Destination Thrive, our new members class. That was so awesome.
Right.
And they say, like, when you have something like that and people register, like, only a certain percentage of people show up, and it's usually a pretty low percentage. And so we had probably like 90% of people came.
Yes.
Maybe 85% of the people showed up.
I think 90 was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you left a couple people, because we teach the first class, and so she has to go lead our all huddle, and there were people that came after you left.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So we almost had everybody there.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to cap the class because we can only fit so many people in the classroom that we have. So we already have 14 that's registered for the next one. mind blown, guys.
It is.
Mind blown.
So mind blowing.
Yeah. All right. What's the greatest challenge so far?
Wow.
I know there's a lot, but give me like one or two greatest challenges.
So I'll give it from two of the hats that I wear. So,
Okay.
I wear the hat of being the children's pastor, children's director, whatever you choose to call it, at your church. And I think one of the challenges we have, and it's interesting to say this, is we're already having a challenge with space. Kids are coming consistently. We're seeing numbers kind of, gradually kind of rise consistently as we've moved, through our first month. And just wanting to have enough space for the kids and to create a great experience for them. This past Sunday, actually, was our first experience having children who are have special needs.
Yeah.
And, we've talked through it and, considered how do we address this. We don't want to turn them away, because my heart is never to turn a child away.
Right.
No matter what the circumstance, never to turn a child away. And so we didn't. And so having that dynamic, it just really shows the different needs of the church. And as these needs arise, we just trust that God's going to help us meet the need.
Yeah.
And so I would say having the space and creating the experience and needing more volunteers. Now, the volunteers we have right now are amazing. We have a family of, what is it, seven, who all of their kids, except their youngest, because he's too young to serve, they all serve in kids.
Yeah.
And they show up in an amazing way. They are, even on the days they're not serving, they come and they help to set up, tear down, all those things, to load in, load out, all those things. So it's really great. But a lot of them, their kids, they're teenagers. And so we need more adults to be in the room. Not that they're not doing a good job, but just needing more adults and more hands. So definitely with that's definitely a challenge when it comes to kids, is needing more volunteers. I think talking to other children's pastors, that's usually the biggest thing, needing more volunteers to come. I think the other side of it, other hat that I wear, is being the volunteer coordinator.
Yeah.
And so navigating the amount of volunteers that we have and knowing that we need more.
Yeah.
And so it's like a constant every week. We're like, okay, we need to put people here and move people here and shift people there and, make room there and, those kind of things. And so just trying to navigate all of that and make sure we're operating in excellence and we're stewarding the people that God has sent our way in the right way. Even though we don't have a ton of volunteers, we have a nice amount. We do still try to practice the sit one, serve one, so that they're able to experience service and then serve as well. So just trying to navigate all of that can be a little challenging, but I just believe God has just been faithful, you know?
Yeah.
His grace has just been over and above what we could ever imagine it to be. This past Sunday, for instance, also we had 20 volunteers on campus. That's it. And we have more than twice. We had like 3 times that amount of volunteers. And so we were like, all right, we're just going to activate our faith and believe God's going to make this work. So that can be challenging.
Yeah.
Definitely challenging.
Absolutely. Greatest challenge for me, I think, is, I think from a resource standpoint, it's like you have such big vision and it's like, all right, Lord, anytime you want to let that provision catch up with the vision, that would be nice.
Just like that.
That's how
say it that way.
Lord, anytime. Yeah, that's how I talk. Well, that's how me and God talk.
Is it? Okay.
But that part of it has been challenging, but it's also been, I think what I've learned through this process is He's doing more in me with where we are, so that I believe when it is that we get to that place, that a different me shows up.
Yeah.
Because the me of current, I think there's some things that God needed to do. And so going through the process. And I think it's just, as a leader, so many things you juggle. For me, it's juggling worship. It's a weekly message that has to be prepared. It's preparing the team, doing teachings and trainings for the team. Right now I'm doing graphic design. And, I love it. Like, graphic design is actually therapy for me. It's like, just leave me alone and let me go create something. But there's just so many things that as a leader you see. You're always a little ahead of everyone else in what you see, what needs to be done, who needs to be trained. This part of the church that needs to be a little bit more excellent. So all of those things.
Yeah, the tension in getting to that place, because like you said, you're a little bit ahead of it all, and so you're in that space of tension, like not really a tug of war, but feeling the tension of getting everything to catch up to where you are, where what God has shown you, waiting for that to actually manifest and become a reality. I can only imagine is difficult sometimes, challenging.
And as a good leader, I think you understand, like, if you want to go alone, you can go fast. But if you want to go with people, you have to set a pace.
That's good.
And so understanding like there has to be a pace behind this, and just pacing myself.
Yeah, and being realistic at, where you're at, what you have. I think I had kind of shared that previously on a podcast where I had to change the way that I was thinking about and seeing this where we were, had I used the word spoiled in the past with having tons of volunteers at a previous, being on staff previously at a different church and having tons of volunteers, tons of resources, all of those things. I'm very grateful for that season, but this is not that season. The season has changed. And so now I needed to have a better seasonal perspective and allow God to kind of, hey, let's sober how we're looking at this and make your expectations more realistic for the place that you're in right now.
So good.
Because if you don't do that, you're just going to constantly be dealing with disappointment.
So good.
So that has been something I've had to adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question for you.
Okay.
So what would you like for one of your testimonies to be come September of next year? 1 year old, Thrive City turns 1. What's one thing that you're like, if this was our testimony, that would be amazing?
I think about it's a section that we teach in Destination Thrive, and we talk about that one of the things we expect from our citizens is that their testimony of Thrive City is one that we're not gossiping, we're not speaking negatively, we're not speaking down on the ministry and whatnot, and we're upholding our speech in regards to it. And I think that a year from now, I want the things that people say about Thrive City is that we're fulfilling our Thrive statement. We're fulfilling the mission, the vision of the church, that we're reaching people who are far from God, that we're still doing that. Yeah. That it doesn't become about what's the next best event that we can do and, their worship is just good. No, not those are all great things. Yeah. But that we are fulfilling the reach, teach, release piece of it. Yeah. That people that's the talk, that's the buzz that you hear about that. Go there, and if you're far from God, you ain't gonna be anymore because you're a part of Thrive City. Yeah. If you're trying to grow in your faith and become a better disciple of Jesus, go to Thrive City because they're all about discipling and helping you to grow your faith and helping you to get closer to Jesus and helping you to live out the life that God intended you to live out. If you're trying to learn how to live out this faith in the marketplace, in your school, in your job, in your families, just in everyday life, go to Thrive City because they teach you how to do that. They give you the example, and they not only teach it, but they live it out themselves. Yeah. That's what I would want to hear a year from now about Thrive City Church.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah.
Act like you knew what I was going to ask you. That's really prepared, it seems.
That's just what's in my heart.
Amen.
If God is going to trust us with this responsibility, I want to make sure I'm fulfilling it to the best of my ability. I want to make sure that, I had a thought about, we're called to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. And my heart is that where my hands and my feet can't reach, or even where my voice or my prayers can't reach, that God is helping to extend that reach as he shows up for what we're doing for people that come across our ministry, that enter to that threshold, that they know that they're entering into the presence of God and they have an encounter with God and they leave completely different than the way that they came.
That's good.
And that's what I desire to see.
It's good stuff. Yeah. I'm going to have an audacious goal.
Okay.
I want to see 500 people come to Jesus.
Wow. That's
we could do 79 in a month.
Okay.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not.
So that's what I want my testimony to be.
Yes.
That come next year, that 5 people either gave their life to Christ or rededicated their life.
Yeah.
That's my audacious faith goal for the year.
I'd love to see that. Yeah. I love it. Love you using the vibe and value for that.
Yeah.
Audacious faith. We're not going to insult God with small thinking. Insult God with believing for small things, but we're going to believe that God is going to do great and amazing things through our ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Thrive City Podcast. We are always in great expectation of you listening and being able to be impacted by God for yourself. My question to you would be, what's your goal for next year? What's the thing that's going to take a little bit of faith for you to be able to accomplish, but you need to make that faith goal today and then begin to move toward it. We love you, and remember, you were not designed to survive. You were designed to thrive.
Yeah, love you guys.
Peace.